This is such a fun book called Muddle and Match. This one is our adventure one, and we also have an Imagine one. Basically, there are pages and they are broken down in thirds. You can read them like normal, or you can mix and muddle with it and create your own silly version of the story. From a secret learning standpoint, I love all the awesome alliteration in the book. I'll read you this first page. It says, Pete the plunky pirate pleads with Percy, his peculiar parrot, to prepare to paddle the Pacific. So awesome alliteration on every page. Wonderful for kids who are practicing and learning their letters and letter sounds. Great for kids who are learning about beginning sounds and words. So not only a fun book, but also has some secret learning in it as well. Here's one of our Lift and Look books. This one is Planes. Great book for kids who are into planes. Also a great book for kids who aren't sitting for very long to listen to a story. There's only a little bit of text on each page. On every page it asks you to look for a little blue bird that's hiding underneath one of the flaps. And I love the illustrations. They're nice and big and vibrant, and the flaps are fun too for the kids. Here is questions and answers about animals, and this is a really fun book. It has tons and tons of flaps in it. It has a question on the outside. So this one says, how do bees buzz? And it says, with their wings, the sound comes from their wings beating 230 times each second. So it goes through different types of questions, like how questions and why questions, yes or no questions. So definitely a great book for kids who love animals or kids who just ask lots of questions and are curious about things. Here are two of our first experiences books. This one is a school one and a dentist, and we also have a doctor one and a going on a plane one. These are great books for kids who are about ready to experience something for the first time. And these books are also dual readers, so the top line is great for a young reader to read, and then a parent can read the bottom line. And then also, if you want to read a shorter story, you can just read the top line and the stories will make complete sense. So definitely a great series of books. Here's the Big Book of Big Machines, and this is one of many big books that Usborne has. And just like all the others, it has nice, thick, sturdy pages and really good pockets of information that teach you about these big machines. It goes through farm machines, and it has very large fold-out pages, so the farm machines turn into really big farm machines. And flying machines. And road machines. And building site machines. And dockside machines. Here is an example of one of our stories for little children. This one is Stories from Around the World, and we have a handful of others just like this one. And I love our stories for little children. I think they do a wonderful job with the illustrations and with each of the stories in all of the books. I think these make great bedtime stories for kids to listen to and great read-alouds for classrooms as well. And this particular one is Stories from Around the World, and I love reading this one to my children because I feel like it exposes them to different types of stories from different countries, and it exposes them to different cultures as well. So we really love this book. Here is one of our Look Inside books. This one is about airports, and we have lots of others just like this one. There are tons of interactive flaps throughout the whole book. Some of them have flaps inside of flaps, or they have, turning wheel here. And on another page, there's a tab that your child can pull that launches an airplane into the sky. I love how there's bits and pieces of reading and information throughout the book, but there's not too much of it, so it's not overwhelming for the kids. And here and in a few other places throughout the book, they kind of have, the sequence of some of the things that happen at the airport. And so I'll read through this to give you an example. This says, first, boxes of cargoes arrive at the airport in trucks. Then they're loaded onto a conveyor belt, which rises up. The boxes slide along the belt. the nose of the plane lifts up and the cargo goes inside. So I love how, you know, these flaps tell the sequence of getting all of this stuff into the plane. And we actually bought this book for my boys because they were going on their first plane trip, and it kept them occupied on the plane. They loved reading through it and opening all the flaps, and even since coming home, they really enjoy looking at the book, and it really keeps their attention for a really long time. This book is called Usborne Fairy Tales, and Usborne actually has quite a few other illustrated stories. They have stories for girls, for boys, adventure stories, Shakespeare, and even some Aesop fables. So they are really, really neat. This particular one has 10 different stories, and the illustrations are absolutely phenomenal. My 2.5-year-old loves this book, and it really keeps his attention for a really long time. So I absolutely love these illustrated stories, and I highly recommend them as well. This book is called The Complete Book of Farmyard Tales, and as you can see, it's a thick book and hardcover. It has a CD that goes along with it that narrates all of the stories in the book. It has a cute British accent to it. There is music and sound effects, and it's actually really fun just to listen to as you're driving in the car. It comes with a little bookmark. And there are 20 different stories in the book. And what's also super neat about the book is there is a map that goes along with all of the different stories in this book, so you can kind of see where each of the stories take place. So this first story is called Pig Gets Stuck, and this book is considered a dual reader. So the top line is more simple text, and then the bottom line is more complicated text. So as your child's learning how to read, he or she can read the top line and you can read the bottom line, and as they become a more proficient reader, they'll be able to read both the top and the bottom. And also, if you are reading the story to your child and you are running short on time, you can just read the top line of every page, and the story will make complete sense. And another really neat element of the book is that the illustrations are really cute and charming, but they also have a hidden duck on each of the pages, which is super fun for the kids to find. So this is one of our family favorites, and I strongly recommend it. This is a preschool activities book called Farm Fun, and it goes through lots of different animal projects, and it teaches you step by step how to make them. Some of them use paint, some of them use crayons or colored pencils. So it has a wide variety of activities and materials that you can use when you're making these projects. This book is called Secrets of the Apple Tree, and there's actually another one called Secrets of the Seashore. And this is a really neat book because you can read it and look at the pictures, but then you use a flashlight and shine it through the back of the page, and more things start to appear in the picture. I'll show you another page here. So I really like how neat and creative this book is. Here is Big Book of Little Stories. This is full of short, sweet little stories for children. The illustrations are beautiful. Makes a wonderful book for the nightstand. And beware, when I read this to my son, he doesn't want me to stop reading it, so we end up reading story after story after story. But definitely a cute book, wonderful gift book even. Here's the Alphabet Wipe Clean book. Let's take a little peek at the inside. They have nice big letters and then other fun shapes to trace throughout. And then as you get to the end of the book, all of the letters are here for the child to trace as well. Here are two cute books for practicing manners. This one is I Can Say Yes, Please. And basically the books go through different situations where you might say yes, please, or thank you. When I am reading these books with my kiddos, I actually will read one side and then I'll have my child say yes, please, or they'll say the thank you part. So definitely two cute books for practicing manners. Here are two cute stories for kids who are into cats or dogs. They are nice, simple stories with cute illustrations. It introduces your child to adjectives and rhyming words. And at the end of both books is a little mirror so your child can look in it and decide what kind of cat or what kind of dog that they look like. So definitely two cute books. Here's one of our new books called A Tale of Two Beasts, and this is a really neat book. Basically, it tells you the story twice. The first time it tells you from the little girl's perspective, and then you get midway through the book and it tells you from the animal's perspective. So it's a really neat book to talk with children about how sometimes people see things differently than you do. There's different perspectives to the same story. So a really neat book to kind of compare and contrast with. Here is Princess Stories, and this has 4 different stories in it about a little prince and a princess and some of the adventures that they go on. This is actually a dual reader, so the top line is simple, the bottom is a little bit more complicated. So as your child's learning how to read, he or she can read the top line and you can read the bottom. And there is actually some hidden ducks on each of the pages, which is fun for kids to find as well. So these are definitely very cute little stories that are fun to read at bedtime. For you sports fans out there, Usborne has a variety of different sports stories. This one is a Little Bears football one. These sports stories kind of teach you a little bit about the different sports, but in a story format. And this particular one, the title is Little Bears, but they have some generic ones. They have some other sport team ones like Little Giants. And we have a hockey, baseball, and basketball ones as well. This book is called A Squirrel's Tale, and I think this is an absolute must for little kids. There's also a similar one that has a mouse in it, but you take the squirrel and you go along the dotted line, and there are spots on each page for the squirrel to go through, and there is a storyline to go along with it. And as you can see, he goes through the holes on each of these pages and pops out on the other one. Usborne has a variety of 1001 Things to Find books, and this is the animals one. And I will let you take a peek at the inside so you have an idea of what they look like. So as you can see, very cute pictures, and along the sides it tells you what you're supposed to find and how many. Usborne has so many different sticker books. This is an example of a first sticker book about animals, and the first sticker books are going to be a little bit more simpler than some of the others. I love how there is a little bit of a story in it, and within the words it kind of gives you some directions too. So for example, it says grassy plains. It's very hot in the African grasslands. Where could you put a muddy hippopotamus? And here it says, a snowy world. It's a cold, icy day in the Arctic. Can you put a polar bear on the snow? Here in the middle are the stickers. And then here at the end are more pages for the stickers. So I really love how once your child is done with the stickers, they can still enjoy the book because there's some good words and things that you can read in it. Here's Usborne's I Can Draw Animals. Usborne has a few other books where they teach you how to draw different things. I think they do a really nice job breaking down each of the steps and having picture clues to go along with it. This is Usborne's Lift the Flap word book, and I think this is a great book for kids who are learning how to read. So there's pictures and words that they need to match. So for example, you flip this one and it says jump, and then you come down here and the child can practice reading the word jump and check to make sure that their answer is right, and they can see a little girl jumping down there. So this is a very cute book and great for kids learning how to read. You Choose is an incredible book. The author poses questions for you. So for example, it says, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? Then you've got this amazing illustration of lots of different places that your child can talk about. Who would you like for family and friends? Then as you can see, there's lots of different ideas on here. I find this book is great for problem solving, decision making, language development, and I think this is also just a great cuddle up book where you can just cuddle up with your child and read through it and talk together. And this is actually a book that I love to give as a gift too, because it's so unique and so fun for kids. Usborne has a wonderful collection of picture books for children. Here's one of them. This one's called Jonathan James and the What If Monster. And this is a very cute story about a little boy who's afraid to do things because he's thinking, what if something bad happens? So that's kind of where the what if monster comes in. And by the end of the story, he starts thinking, well, what if something good happens when I try these things? So this is a very fun, neat, and encouraging book.